Speaker.
John O'Naylor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to, if I can, take you back to 1972 and the members back to then. No, because at that time people were driving around in HQ Holdens, our families driving around in our Mark IV Zephyr. It was the year of the Munich Olympics. It was 2 years before those famous Commonwealth Games in Christchurch. For me, that was a distant memory, I've got to say. For some of my colleagues here, I think Ministers Guy and Lotuinga were probably in nappies. It was the year that my colleague here, Mr. Ducey, was born. That was a long time ago, Mr. Speaker, 1972, and yet that was the last time that a government put up the real amount of benefits for beneficiaries in New Zealand. Now, I've heard people sort of say today, oh, we should stop talking about that it seems parsimonious, and someone else saying that, oh, but there was a national government that cut the benefits in another distant memory as well. But, Mr. Speaker, in order to do this, it takes a certain level of management. And over the last little while that we've been in government, it hasn't been possible necessarily to take this step. But we are now in a position where we are seeing a growth in the amount of wages. We're starting to see a bigger gap between wages and benefits. That means that we can actually start to raise these benefits. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to be a part of a government that is bringing this into place. And to hear the negativity around the House today, I think is sad, because actually today is a day that we're actually doing something very positive to ensure that the vulnerable children in our communities will have a better chance at making it out of that poverty. Now, there's been a lot of criticism to say that, oh, this one thing isn't going to do it. The government's just barking up the wrong tree if they think this is going to do it. But, Mr. Speaker, this is not the only thing that this government is doing to ensure that our vulnerable young children will have better outcomes. Mr. Speaker, there are going to be 750,000 Kiwi kids who are under 13 who are going to be receiving free doctor's visits. Mr. Speaker, 94% of 2-year-olds were immunised last year, whereas in 2007 a mere 67% of them were. And we've insulated over a quarter of a million homes as well. Mr. Speaker, this is part of an ongoing package. It is part of an ongoing commitment of this government to ensure that we are lifting people up from poverty. We're lifting people up out of places where they can actually do better for themselves. Mr. Speaker, I am really proud of what we're doing here. I'm proud that we're starting to make some progress. This is a good bill, and I wish that we didn't have so much sour grapes about it, but I'm so glad that it's going to go through with such strong support, and we're going to see great things for young New Zealanders as we move forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.